In today's video, we will be giving NFL running backs their Madden ratings. Now, let me just remind you, this is a pre-recorded video from about a month prior to when this is going to be posted because I'll be gone for about 3 weeks and I wanted to have some things just ready to go for when they come out. So, before we get into this video, let me remind you, check out w.gg. Use code SHREDDER for 10% off your order, SHRD3R. Check out their energy drinks. They're some of the best tasting drinks on the market that you can find, and they're also cheaper per drink than you can find really anywhere. So check out w.gg or click the link in the description and get 10% off your order. Let's get right into this video. Alright, so here is our tier list. We have the 90, the high 90s. They go down by about increments of 5. Just to keep it clean. There actually aren't too many running backs here. I didn't make this. This is just one of the ones on the Tier Maker website. But here we go. Starting off, we're going to go with the best running back in the NFL to start this off. 99 overall for Christian McCaffrey. There should not be a debate about that. This being less running backs, I may try to make this a little more balanced. But at the same time, this is a reminder, this is what I think they should be rated. This is not what I think Madden will give them. This is the ratings I would give if I was the one giving out the ratings. So, let's go to, let's say, Aaron Jones. He's about a 88. I think he's really solid, not too bad at all. He's a good back. There's nothing wrong with him. Najee Harris, he's about an 85. Had 3 1,000-yard seasons behind terrible lines. He's solid. Like 85, I think is really fair. That means you're solid, but you're not like in the top tier players. And he's played for a while. He's proven himself. He's been a pass catcher. He's done everything. Gus Edwards, we're going to put him about like a 77. He's good at like one thing, and it's running from the 2-yard line into the end zone. I mean, that's fine. Got to have a guy who does that. But that's about it. Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously had a really good rookie year, but you can't just give him like the biggest rating ever off of one season. That's a big thing for me. I don't ever give young players the highest amount of credit off of 1 year because sometimes we see one-year wonders, and you just don't want to put expectations ahead of them. So for him, we're going to be probably, if Gus Edwards is a 77, we're going to put him as a 77. I think that's very fair. I think it's even. Raheem Mostert, I'm about an 82, 83. Really solid, just, not as dynamic, and, he's not going to be your every down back like some other guys might be, but he's still very good. Let's see where we're going to go. Alvin Kamara, on the regression of his career so far, he's about an 83, I'll say. That's probably a little generous at this point, but it's where he's going to be, at least for now. Moving forward, we're going to find some backs here that are in the middle level. We're going to go with a little bit of a controversial one here. James Cook. He's a very fine running back. He's fine. He's maybe a starter. That's about it, though. I'm going to give him like a 79. I'm not the highest on James Cook. He really, he had a really good year this last year, but it was because of the offensive scheme. You saw him break out as soon as the offensive coordinator changed. 2 + 2 tends to equal 4. I'll just say that much. He's fine. You can have him as your starter and you'll be fine. Definitely an upgradable player, but he's fine. And that's at this point. Maybe next year he upgrades himself and that becomes, a really good starter. But right now, just not that. Derrick Henry, another guy on the downturn of his career, but definitely better than Kamara still. I'm going to give him an 89. I don't know if he's quite liable for that 90 yet or anymore, but still very solid. Jonathan Taylor will be a member of the 90s to 94 club at about, I'll give him a 93. I think he's really solid. And if he would have been healthy and available last year, I think he would have been, clearly in that situation. To find the next running back who fits in the top tier, it'll be Nick Chubb. He's about a 96, 97, I think, with Christian McCaffrey being a 99. I'm not trying to hamper him too much on the injuries. It's just a 99 after a year being injured. I can't give him that much. If you know my channel very much, you know that I think, 1 year of injuries can't really say that you're that bad. You can't move him down that far. But I think being a 99 after being injured for basically an entire year, that's fair. Let's see. Saquon Barkley, he's in that 92, 93 range. Really solid. Nothing wrong there. Props to him. Did with terrible lines for his whole career. Bijan Robinson, he's going to get a little higher, though he was just a rookie, because of the talent he has, the simple talent. He's an 80 flat. I think that's completely fair. I think there's, you can't go any higher than that because it'd be excessive, but that right there is plenty fine. Let's see. Joe Mixon, he's about a 79. He's not as good of a back as he used to be. He just simply isn't. He gets replaced every year for Samaje Perine and for Chase Brown. And I like Chase Brown, but for Joe Mixon being the starter and Chase Brown does have fumble issues, all that, like, that's not a good sign. Every year in the playoffs for you to get benched for guys that are considered less than you on the depth chart, not a good thing. We're going to go to a rookie here, Trey Benson, my favorite rookie out of the draft this year. I'm going to give him a 75. That's about as high as I think this draft class can go for any running backs. So speaking of that, Jonathan Brooks, I think he's a 74, maybe 73. I think that's fair. Blake Corum we'll say if he's a 70, we'll go 73 for Jonathan Brooks. We're going to go 71 for Blake Corum. Blake Corum's not as dynamic, so that's where he ends up there. But I think that's pretty fair. I know there's this 69 less tier, but I don't know that anybody goes in that at all. David Montgomery. If I put Jahmyr Gibbs, all right, that's funny, at a 77, I'm going to put him at about a 79. No, I'm going to put him at an 80. I think he's a little better than Mixon. I think he's more, Bijan, maybe even an 81. I think that's fair. You get this dynamic duo, and it's good to take the reps off of one guy because you keep their mileage low, but he's just not amazing, but he's still really good. Brian Robinson, he's about an 80. He's fine, nothing crazy. Breece Hall, after the few years he's played, I think he deserves about an 85. I think that's pretty fair. Devon Achane, he's a guy that he obviously had a dynamic rookie year and it looked really, really good, but you can't just give him the biggest overall ever because he, one, had limited reps, two, had a limited season. If I gave Gibbs a 77, I can't give him any more than a 75. I really can't. He's a dynamic playmaker, and you get him in space, and he's gone. But, he's going to get more than 100 touches on a season from here on out. And he's probably going to, he's not going to average 11 yards per carry. We'll say that much. I expect him to go up quickly. I expect him by the end of this to be, probably an 80. I think that could be very realistic for next year. But either way, Travis Etienne, if Najee is an 85, he's got to be about an 83. Really solid, but goes really back and forth. A great game, a not good game at all. Then, another great game and a not good game at all. And then he's just mid for the rest of the season. That's kind of how his season went. Plus, he's had some availability issues. Najee Harris is pretty available. I'm going to give him that distinction there. Josh Jacobs, he'll be a 90. He's good, but not great. I think he's a little overrated, just a little bit. He's had one really, really good season, led the league in rushing 2 years ago, and now he's fine. He's fine. That's it. Ramondre Stevenson, he'll be about an 82. I think that's really fair for him. Solid back. I really like Ramondre. Good size on him, gives him a lot of power, but also because of that, apart from that, he has a really good speed burst to be a dynamic runner. I think that's a really good fit for him at 82. To close out this list, Jaylen Warren. This is going to be a hot one because there's some people who have no brain in their head apparently and think that he's better than Najee Harris, which he simply isn't. He just simply isn't. He's a dynamic runner. He's a more dynamic runner because of his speed to power, switch up. But as an overall running back, he's not better. Simple as that. He's about a 77. He's solid and a good change of pace. That's another thing. You put in a guy like him and he can do a few things. Najee Harris, he's going to do one or two things, but they're going to be done to the best of his ability and to the best of almost anybody's ability. In terms of being a pure power back, that's also like Gus Edwards is a pure power back, but he's not a number one rusher. Now, the only real power backs that are number one rushers are Derrick Henry and Najee Harris. That's just because of how the profile is. And he does it just as good as anyone outside of Derrick Henry. Beyond anyone, really. Javonte Williams, he's an interesting one because of his availability. I'm going to give him we'll give him an 81. I like him a lot, but he just has to prove himself more. We'll give him like an 81, 82, close to Ramondre. DeAndre Swift, he's going to fit right there in that same thing with me. I think he's really solid, but just not amazing. I'm actually going to move Jaylen Warren up to about a 79. I feel like that's fair. I feel like he's a little more dynamic than Cook because of his power. I feel like that's fair. 79 with Mixon. That's fair. Ezekiel Elliott, he's washed. He's about a 77. He had a lot of targets and catches from last year on the Patriots because no one else did because he had to, because someone has to receive the ball. Tony Pollard, he's about a 80, 81. He's fine. He's not as good as anybody thinks he is for some reason. I don't know why people think he's that great. He's one of those running backs that he's really good if he can be a 2. If he can be behind Ezekiel Elliott, if he could be behind somebody else, he would be the best second running back ever. But as a 1, he's just not that guy. Kyron Williams, he's really only had one great season so far, and so I'm going to hamper on him a little bit. He'll be about this Ramondre, Travis Etienne tier, about an 82, 83. Isaiah Pacheco, he's about an 81. He's fine, but he's not, super elite in any form. Like, nothing he does is amazing. He just does a lot of things pretty good. So 81 is really fair. Not like that's a bad rating either. James Conner, he's like an 84. Solid running back. Is a really good receiving back for his size. Really strong power back. He's got some availability issues, but he's proven that he can be reliable outside of that. Kenneth Walker, I'm putting him about this 83, almost 84 tier. I think that needs to be about there then. Kenneth Walker, really solid. Don't mind him at all. Rachaad White, if you know me, I am not a Rachaad White fan. Yeah, he's fine. He can play on a team. He's not going to get cut, but he's not a starter in this league. There definitely are 32 guys better than him. He's like a 76, I think. He's just not that great. If he didn't have the receiving production he did, he just wouldn't be that recognizable at all. At all. He's not a good runner. Just doesn't run the ball well. As a running back, kind of strange. I don't know. And then Zach Moss, our final guy. Also only had one good year, but I do like what he's going to be able to do with Cincinnati. I'm going to give him about a 78, 79. You have to prove it more, but I think he will. I think he'll be really fine, a really good running back for the future. That was our tier list for the Madden ratings for all the running backs in the NFL, or at least a lot of them. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me know who you think should be rated higher or lower, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.